this is my favorite. Skipping steps. There is a reason why there are steps in recovery, and an even bigger reason why they are in order. We all want results without work. Once we know this is our tendency, we can address it and work on each step properly. I've thought a lot about what story I was going to tell. I've thought about telling a really personal story. I've thought about giving you an analogy. So we're going to do both. Okay. There's this guy that I knew in recovery, and his name is Jason. And Jason came from what would be considered a wealthy family here in Wichita. And he was tall and handsome. Find it. My age, elder millennial. Drove a Porsche. And had a family. And at the time that I got sober, all of these young people, it was extraordinary. I'm so grateful I got to be there for that. All of these young people in Wichita were getting sober. We didn't have any other choice. We were either going to go to jail or we were going to die. And we were the children of the Oxycontin generation. And so it just ravaged my generation, addiction. And so many of us made it. And we were all in there together. And at that time, most of us had probably under 5 years. So I had like a year. I had tried like 1,000 times, finally got a year, and it stuck, you know. But Jason, who was popular and funny and vulnerable, he just couldn't get it. And he was like sober or whatever, but he just, I don't know. I'm back in that time. I'm thinking back. I just couldn't understand. Is it the money? Is it because you have money? What is it? I knew he had a sponsor. I knew his sponsor. I knew his friends. Like they all had like sobriety. And I just, well, that was then. When I had about 2 years, 3 years, Jason called me one day, like physically called me on the phone and started telling me about how he like took all of these, bro, I swear to God, not now, how he took all of these pills and what, I don't know, something really crazy. And the next week I saw him in meetings. And this is before like I moved to Oklahoma. And I remember he got mad at me because I told my sponsor. And my sponsor must have said something about it, and I'm not sure how it got back to him. Like, it shouldn't matter that I told my sponsor, but whatever. And he got mad, and we ended up talking. And I remember that was like the last time that I really, like, we resolved it. And, you know, I explained that I was concerned for him. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do, man? Keep that shit to myself? Fuck you. You know? He just had everything. He had everything. He had a beautiful wife. He had a child with another woman, like, prior. So previous wife and a kid, and then he remarried and had a set of twins, I believe. and, you know, came from this well-to-do family that was in pharmaceuticals, and I just knew by looking at this guy, he was never going to get it. And a lot of times in recovery, you're wrong, because you don't really know what people are doing in their recovery when outside of meetings. You don't know how hard they're working on it, or how you just can't judge that. But every once in a while, you will see someone that you're certain they're not going to get it, and they're going to die like that. And the irony of that is that I was that person to everyone else. That was me. I was way worse than Jason. I just finally got it. What is the difference? Why did I make it and he didn't? He did not make it. He died. Like, he could not get through the program ever. He just couldn't not skip steps. And he would think that he was okay, and then he would not be. And then he would skip over this part that somebody said, you know, you really ought to probably look at that, because it's causing all of these problems. It's like the leaky roof thing, you know? And so now, there's no hope for anything, because someone didn't want to go through simple steps that they could see working for other people, for themselves. And that causes great trauma. That causes great trauma. And I know that there's a difference between family and children and dogs, but like, is there really though? You treat one thing the way that you treat everything. In relationship anyway. You have a style. I have a style. We all have a style. It's a survival tactic. And you just have to figure out, like, where am I skipping over stuff because I'm trying to get to this ideal, or this idea, and I basically want to just, hey, Kobe, can you teach me how to slam dunk a basketball? And he's like, yeah. Have you ever played basketball, though? And you're like, no. Do you know how to pass or dribble or shoot? No. But I want to play in the NBA Finals game like you. Well, okay. You're really tying my hands together here. I feel like that a lot. When I talk to people, especially on consult, I feel like that a lot. I feel like you guys look at me and Enzo and you're like, wow, I want that. And I love that so much. Like, there's nothing more that I love than to inspire people in my passions. The reason I feel like I was put here, recovery, animals, like that is so, just my little cup overflows. You know what I mean? But have respect for what's going on. Have respect for what's going on. Have respect for yourself and your dog. And make goals you can attain and hit those goals, and then you can make new ones. You can make new ones. But to simply just be like, I'm going to adopt this dog and then take it out to the lake, they're not basketballs. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you skip steps with these things, somebody can really get hurt at worst. At least, your dog's going to have a shitty life because they can't do the stuff that they really were meant to do because mom or dad wants to jump past 4, 5, and 6 straight to step 10, and I don't even know what the fuck is going on. It would be like putting your teenager in a car to drive for the first time. And you're like, okay, make sure your seatbelt's on. Yep, that's good. Check your rearview mirror. That's good. Shift it into reverse. Very good. And I want you to immediately get on the freeway. That doesn't make any sense to do it like that. And what will happen is the child will crash or something will happen. And then what is the parent supposed to say? This is what the dog parents do. This is what dog parents do. They'll look at the child and be like, I just don't understand. I don't understand why this is happening. And mean it and really not understand and be confused when we've skipped a lot of steps here. And we need to go back and think about the fact that these are really powerful apex predators. Let's have respect for them and acknowledge that it takes time to learn not only about them as a species, but them as individuals. And then once we kind of get some of that going, and we know we're teaching them things that are useful, then we can start thinking about what is our life going to be like now that that's how it is when you get a car, right? You learn to drive. And then you're like, oh my God, the whole world is open to me. But you have to learn to drive safe on the road because there's other people's babies out there. There's other people's mamas out there. There's other people's sons and fathers out there. And we have to think about them. And when we skip steps, that's a danger to public safety. You hear certain dog trainers talk about, well, these aversive things are a danger to public safety. A danger to public safety is what is a danger to public safety. And if you can't go outside and be safe because somebody skips steps and is off leash with their dog that has no business being off leash, that is a public safety risk. So what can we do to make sure that we're not that asshole doing that? So this is the crossbody part of my lead, but it does work as a slip lead. And normally I would hook it onto something. So what if you just have a lead that's like this long? That's okay, we can use it. Let's do that for those people today. Okay. That doesn't bother me. So what we're going to do now, and this is what you're going to do in your mini packs, okay, is I'm going to simulate what does the first little steps of my walk look like. I've done all of this inside. I've done it outside in my yard or in your, apartment complex area that you're familiar with. And now I'm going to take it to the streets. I said it to all of my clients. That's my favorite part. Okay, come on, sweetie. And we're just going to be real casual here. Okay, so I'm going to, he's looking at something. This is good. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Yeah, find it. And I'm going to encourage him to do things that might help us along the walk. How might this help us along the walk? Well, every single time a car comes by, I always throw a scatter to the side of the road so that my dog and my goat both have a habit of moving off to the side of the road when cars come by. Because sometimes people will stop and talk to me and stuff. Okay, come on. We might backpedal a little. Here he goes. Here he goes. He's a star. Find it. Do you see how you can move along on a walk like this? With this short-ass little leash? He found it. You're a star. Good effort. Come on. We can side shuffle. My neighbor's over there, and he's pretty tuned into that. Here we go. It's a statement, not a question. Ready, catch. Yeah. Remember that. The back pedal is a statement, not a question. If I'm saying we're going to backpedal, we gon' backpedal. I'm not going to do this. That's not going to help anybody. If you have a problem with your dog like pulling against it, look at the angle. Look at the angle. Do not stand directly behind them. You're not going to get leverage that way. If you stand too far off to the side, you're not going to be able to maneuver the way that you want. So I like to just come about 40 degrees. Come on. Good boy. 45 degrees, sorry. And you can give a little bump, 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 bump on your leash also if you're struggling, but you don't want to drag them. Good job. Back this way. Ready, catch. Oh, get it. That's it. Super simple. But you have to think about, how am I going to really use this on a walk? How would I use ready catch on a walk? Why would I be doing that? Well, if there's dogs barking at the fence, that's a great time to do your ready catches. Maybe your dog isn't ready for that and you just have to backpedal by or side shuffle by the dogs that are barking at the fence for a while, and you make a little distance and then you scatter. There's so many, like, I only do 3 things, but we make it around in the world just fine and dandy. Thank you very much. Okay, come over here. We're gonna do a find it. And we just go on our entire walk like that. Okay, you don't have to wear this anymore, I'm sorry. All right, tomorrow we're gonna be back in the morning. I've got one of my friends from high school. She lives in Texas now, and she's coming through Wichita, and we're gonna visit. So I need to be able to do that with her tomorrow, so I'll be here in the morning. Get with your mini packs tonight, or in the morning. Practice your simulated walk, because this is how, I mean, I can't take you guys on an entire walk, probably, or I would, but the quality of the video is for shit, so. But this is how you add, you make this successful, and then you just add length. And then you practice that length, because it's got its own set of distractions, right? There's the Germans over there, Heidi and Klaus, the German Shepherds. I don't know that that's their names. I just made that up. That's what I call them. They bark in response. I think they like it. You know, you've got the people down the way that have, like, young Rottweiler that they sometimes walk. Sierra, the Huskies over there. The healer that's also always off leash and always on point and listening, just sitting out in his front yard, lives right there. There's all these different little stories in your neighborhood. Learn what they are, and don't. This is the thing that he's been doing. I love you. I don't know if that's, yeah, because I feel like maybe it's pretty busy. Do you want to do, like, right there, or maybe just... He does this in the middle of the road when we walk Fred. If I take too long and I'm talking too long or I'm doing something, he just lays down in the middle of the road. And let me tell you the significance of that. And I know I'm kind of being funny, but there's this Maya Angelou quote that's like my favorite quote ever in life. And she talks about how you're truly free when you everywhere, well, I'll just paraphrase, when you feel like you belong everywhere you go, but you also feel like you don't belong. You know, it's like this very specific feeling of, like, I don't know. Look up the quote. Here, come here. There's a car coming. Touch. He's a smart boy. So the point of that is, I feel like Enzo feels like he belongs everywhere, and he feels comfortable everywhere if we go there a lot. I don't think that he just naturally, like, there are certain places like anybody else that he may not feel very comfortable right away, but it's like warms my heart when I see my dog treat the outside like his house, and he's so comfortable that he'll just lay down in the middle of the road. I'm not encouraging people teaching their dogs. Like, I obviously don't let him do that here, but it just makes me happy that he's that comfortable that he'll just do what he feels like he wants to do in that moment.